What's up guys, my name is Zero Heroes and welcome back to more Call to Arms, and today we are looking at a new nation that has been added to the game. I know, can you believe it? The Call to Arms have just suddenly added it. I'm joking, of course. It's just a mod that has been added to the workshop, but it is still a new nation that you can play and everybody can play, which will be linked down in the description down below if you want to download it in the workshop. And please go send the creators or the modder the love, because they definitely deserve all the work that they've done for this mod. So this mod is called the South Korean Nation. That's right, we have now got South Korea as our new addition to the game, and they've also got a wee bit of voice acting. I don't know if you just slightly heard here. So yeah, we have got nice vehicles looking at us right now, if I made English there. And also we have some nice looking infantry as well, which I will be going over today with you. So this is a new faction review which you can play today right now, and you can play, you know, even you can play it with your friends, but you and your friend or whoever you play with has to download the mod, because it does definitely it will only work that way. So guys, without further ado, let's get straight into it. Now, I must bear in mind that this mod is still in a beta, so it's not fully complete, and when, as you can see, there's not really many pictures. The infantries don't have pictures. There's only a couple vehicles that have pictures on it, but the rest of it is they don't have pictures, so it will be hard, but it is still in the early days of the working of this nation, so please do give it patience, and everything might not work. In this faction review, we're going to be covering the tanks that are in this game, not every single one of them, and I'm not going to cover the helicopters because it'd just be too long a video, but I'm going to be covering mainly the big vehicles that are in here, the kind of the medium vehicles, you know, the vehicles that are going to be good and effective against infantry and tanks, that I'm going to talk you through, and then I'm going to be going over to the infantry section and see what the difference is between all of them. So guys, if you are pumped and excited for this video like I am, make sure you smash that like button and also subscribe if you're new, because you'll get a shout out at the end of the video, guys. And also one more thing before we start is that we are almost close to 1,000 subscribers, so if we can hit that mark, that'd be absolutely amazing. So guys, without further ado, let's get going. So first, let's start off with the most exciting thing, personally in my opinion, which are the tanks. Now the tanks are, to be honest, one of the most effective things you can use in Call to Arms. The tanks are an all-round winner, to be honest, except when they get ambushed by ATGMs or mistletoes as I call them, or AT grenades, or sorry, AT anti-tank rocket launchers, or you know what I mean. So yeah, that's the only weakness, but to be honest, tanks are just my favorite thing alongside, you know, other stuff, but mainly tanks. So let's look at the first one, which is the heaviest tank that you can get in the South Korean armory, which is it's called the K2 Black Panther. Rip Chadwick Bowman, by the way, Black Panther, you know. So let's go into more detail about the K2 Black Panther. Now, the K2 Black Panther holds a very nice 120mm M256 A1, which is actually has the same caliber as the British Challenger 2. It might not be the same name, but it'll probably be at like a different 120mm, but it still holds that very dangerous 120mm, which can definitely punch through vehicles like T-72s, T-78s even, or T-80s as well. That's not even a tank. Well, not the T-78, that's not a tank, but the T-80s, the T-80Us in this game could probably punch through this, but it also does have a weakness of having kind of mediocre armor, which having 200 to 600mm of armor, but that's it really at the maximum, and that's if you're kind of like sloping it as well. And it does depend. Sloping does kind of work. Side scraping does not work in this game. It's not World of Tanks, but as you can see, it does look like it has some nice infrared action as well here with the turret, and also has a wee machine gun at the top to kind of support itself from taking down infantry, or you know, taking down lightly armored vehicles. So definitely a big a tank as well, which is a tank that I definitely would choose. And also, it does go very fast, 67 kilometers per hour. That is very good for a main battle tank at the modern ages. So definitely a very fast tank for its time, and definitely a tank that can easily outmaneuver like a Challenger 2 or a T-80 or T-80U or even the Abrams. So definitely use your mobility to your advantage in this vehicle. Next, let's move on to the next vehicle, which is called the K1A1, which is kind of similar to the Black Panther. It holds that same 120mm gun with a machine gun on top, the M60E4, and also your armor is slightly less now. It's 200 to 500 roughly, but to be honest, the way it looks, the armor does look slightly weaker on this side. It is still fast, so 72 kilometers an hour, miles per hour, depends what it is, compared to the Black Panther 67. So definitely this, I would say you're reaching light tank speed at this point. 72 kilometers is very fast for a heavy tank or a main battle tank at the stage. So definitely a tank that you don't want to mess with, and definitely can easily flank around you if you're outmaneuvered or if you're in a slow moving tank. So definitely do not mess with this thing when it comes to mobility. And the armor, like I said, it can dodge, it can take bullets from maybe M60 or something, but not really anything higher than maybe a T-80 or a Abrams, because those things will easily penetrate the K1A1. So definitely be careful when you're coming up against these. Flank the enemy if you can. With its also low profile as well, which is quite good, and its camo as well, which will save itself, as the concealment is actually quite good as well. Also as well on the K2 Black Panther. So yeah, two of my favorite vehicles so far in this game, which is the Black Panther, K2 Black Panther, and the K1A1. Looking very nice, low style as you can see, and it is looking very nice. Okay, let's move on to the armored vehicles at this point. So those were the tanks. Let's move on to the armored vehicles. So this is called the K21 IFV PIP. So this thing, it kind of looks like a Abrams, no, not an Abrams, a Bradley mixed with a BMP kind of, and a Marder as well, because it kind of looks like it's got that Marder turret as well, but it kind of has a hull or chassis of a BMP / Bradley. It's got kind of like the thickness of a Bradley and the spaced armor as well, like a Bradley, but also it kind of has a shape of a kind of BMP. So it's kind of a mix with America, Germany, and Russia in this fact. And this thing carries a 40mm gun, which can definitely go through vehicles like I would say probably like a Marder 1A3, or Russian vehicles like I'm trying to think of any Russian vehicles in the game, which I can't. So basically, kind of lightly armored vehicles, kind of like a Bradley, like a BMP, like I just said. Don't know why I forgot the name of it. BMPs. I would say this vehicle is actually quite fast. Well, it's not as fast as the tanks, with it only going at 56 kilometers per hour or miles per hour, but it does have spaced armor with only rating between 18 and 16, but with the kind of the added armor or the spaced armor at the sides and at the front, that's extra, probably about 30mm, maybe slightly less, depends on, I don't know what thickness is, but with the kind of it being sloped at the bottom as well and at the top, you will ricochet some shots, but not every shot. So it will probably match, I would say, vehicles like a Bradley or BMP, but like I said, the one weakness that it does have is that it doesn't have like an ATGM attached to it like the Bradley does or the BMP does. So that's, I would say, one weakness it does have, that it doesn't have, things to protect itself. It does kind of look like it does have maybe like have rocket launchers at the side, the way it looks like it. But oh no, it does. Sorry, my bad. It does. I didn't know that. Sorry, I just guessed. It just the way that it just looked like that it didn't look at it, but it does. Okay, my bad. Take that statement back. It does have rocket launchers, 2 of them, I believe, which look very dangerous and can blow up vehicles like this, like that. There you go. So point proven. This vehicle is very dangerous. And it can also carry some troops as well in the back of the vehicle, up to 11 exactly. So yeah, this vehicle is actually very, very good. It can match probably now the vehicles of a Bradley or BMP. Okay, moving on to the next one, which is the K21 IFV, the little brother of the PIP. So literally, it's just a PIP. No! Oh, I just spilled my brew. That was luckily closed. It was closed. Only my picture fell. I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted. So yeah, the IFV is just basically the little brother of the PIP. So this literally, there's no difference. It has the same gun. It has the exact same looks of it. It does actually look like this turret is slightly bigger, which is kind of a problem because the bigger it is, the more of a weakness it is. But you can see it doesn't actually have any spaced armor like the big brother does. So that is going to be a weakness in it, in the fact that it is now more vulnerable to shots from Abrams and definitely Bradleys and BMPs from their missiles or ATGMs, whereas the big brother could probably stop it with its spaced armor, but do not rely on it. So that is really it. And also it does have kind of this kind of big thick chassis as well, and it's kind of big, so it is vulnerable, and probably enemies will see you a lot quicker than maybe the tanks. And also, but the good things are it does carry again 11 soldiers in the back of the vehicle, so you will be able to take your troops quickly to a capture point. But other than that, it's exactly really the same. It doesn't have, although one weakness it does have is that this vehicle doesn't have any rockets. And that is a big problem when it comes to facing vehicles like Bradleys and BMPs, because those things do have it and this thing doesn't. So definitely be careful when facing vehicles like those, because this thing does not have ATGMs to protect itself against vehicles. So I would say the little brother is only good at fighting against like armored trucks or infantry or any maybe smaller vehicles that don't have ATGM. So it is a good vehicle to get at the start, but not against vehicles, because it's not prepared to fight vehicles. Okay, so that was moving on to now the kind of the last section of the vehicles. Not all of them, but some of them don't work. So let's go on to this one, which kind of looks like this one isn't really fully modeled yet or 3D modeled yet. It kind of still looks like in 2D, which it kind of is. Now this tank is based off the M48 pattern, and as you can see, it's been slightly changed because the M48 pattern doesn't actually have any side skirts here, and it doesn't have. I think the M48 has this big weak point, but I think that's actually on the M60. I would say this thing actually more looks like an M60 than it does an M48. But as you can see, it's got the side skirts, which kind of make it a difference, which you can see makes the difference between the American and the South Korean version. And also you do have this 105mm gun, which is the same on the M48 or the M60, it depends. But it does have also this machine gun at the top, which you can actually still use up here, and it does actually look quite scary. So it looks like this gun at the top could probably take out light vehicles and infantry, and also does have another machine gun as well. So it does actually look very, very good. It requires a crew of 4, so it doesn't actually take that many. And also the armor is between 25 and 200, definitely not as thick as the big vehicles over here, but definitely I would say it's quite, it could probably take on vehicles again like the Bradley and the BMPs, and it could possibly even take on like its American cousin, the M60 or the M48. So definitely I would say these vehicles are quite vulnerable to Abrams, though, and T-80Us do not definitely face this vehicle up against that, because I'll have no chance, especially with only 108mm, 105mm gun, which will definitely not go through a T-80U or a T-90 or even in fact an M1A2 Abrams. So definitely do not put those vehicles up against that. So this is the M48 A5K. Okay, moving on to the little brother. This is called the M48 A3K. So the difference is that this one actually carries a 90mm gun, so it's actually smaller than the 105. And this, I would say, is the 90mm is like vehicles like on a Walker Bulldog, and also vehicles like on exactly like a M48, which you can apply to this tank as well. Now this tank is, like I said, the caliber is smaller, so it's going to be harder to penetrate vehicles. Again, good against Bradleys and Abrams, sorry, not Abrams, good against Bradleys and BMPs and Marders as well for Germany. But I would say never bring this vehicle up, never ever bring this vehicle up against a T80 or the big power vehicles, because it's just going to get easily outmatched and it's just going to lose. But it does have that nice machine gun at the top, which makes it better. But unfortunately, it doesn't have the side skirts, which the side skirts do protect actually itself against getting it tracked. So definitely a weakness there with the weaker brother. And that's the whole point of kind of a small brother. It's not meant to be as good as a bigger brother, but I would say it's still good for a starting off vehicle against, again, lightly armored vehicles and all that. Okay, moving last to of the vehicles, which is the trucks. Now, unfortunately, this vehicle over here doesn't move for some reason. It's broken and I can't move it. And even though it's got full fuel, it's got the crew in it, everything's working, for some reason it just won't move. So it's just going to have to stay there and I won't review it. So the trucks are actually looking very nice. You can see the tires are muddy. You can see that nice effect there. This is called the KLTV K6. Now this gun is kind of like the Americans. It's automatic, so you don't actually need a crew member, unlike the Russians do, and that makes the Russians quite vulnerable. But with the South Koreans, you can see it's an automatic machine gun, so that means the crew are safe inside the vehicle and can just manually control it within the truck instead of going out and controlling it manually up at the top where you are vulnerable. So a very nice bonus there to it, and the camo, I have to say, does look very nice, kind of that South Korean feel to it as well. So definitely a nice gun, and it does carry the M2HB, which is the same on the tanks here, which the M48. So this truck over here. And it can carry more men in here. It can take up to 4 men, which isn't a lot, but it's kind of standard for a Humvee at this stage. So definitely kind of it kind of looks like it's taken off the Humvees from the Americans, so definitely very nice there. Okay, moving next on to this one, which is called the K153. Now this thing looks absolutely amazing, because again, this thing the men do automatically control it, but this thing is actually kind of like the Russians as well, because the Russians have a machine gun and kind of an ATGM or RPG, but this thing has actually got 2 RPGs attached to it plus a machine gun, so which is very nice. So you can use your main gun, which is here, but also you can use your RPGs to blow up as well, so which is very nice. And I think it just loads what it does have to, so it actually is awesome to deal with vehicles as well, lightly armored vehicles, may I say, not definitely tanks or Bradleys, but definitely vehicle, Humvees and trucks as well, which are roughly the same size as this. So definitely this is a big weapon to use against infantry and vehicles, which is awesome. So again, love the style of it. No camo on it, but I still do love the style of the truck on it as well. So that is now all the vehicles covered on the South Koreans. Well, not all of them, but of course some of them are glitched out due to this being a beta. So that is the vehicles that I personally like, that I've seen in the South Korean armory, that I really do like. So guys, tell me what you think. What is your favorite vehicle in the South Korean army, and tell me which one you think would not last that long in a battle. So guys, that is for the vehicles. Now let's move on to the infantry. Now the infantry there's not very many infantry, again, just because this is a beta, so there's not going to be many vehicles, so this won't be long. These guys are called the UDT SEAL Squad. Now these guys carry, if we try and get into them closer, if we stand them up and I try and this is as far as I can get you guys to look on for these guys. Unfortunately, I can't zoom in any closer than this. Actually, no, I can. So as you can see, that these guys are actually looking quite scary. These guys carry silencers by the looks of it. They carry, I don't know what gun even it is. They carry a K7 SMG. So they carry SMGs, they carry machine guns, they carry more SMGs. So, and they also carry a M4A1 of the Americans. but that is but these guys have all got silencers on them. So to be honest, these seals are very good and can definitely take out infantry sneakily, and will definitely be your number one infantry group to go to. Next, you have the Black Beret, which I've never heard of before, but these guys look more trained. As you can see, these guys have got more armor, and one of them actually does have an RPG on the back, so it can protect itself against lightly armored vehicles. But these guys carry, again, looks like this guy carries a Scar H, which looks like kind of a machine gun, which I am right in saying that. There's actually two of them. Actually, one carries there's actually two machine guns, but two different types of machine gun. This guy carries the K3 saw, and the rest of them just carry like light machine guns and SMGs and all those different type of guns. So definitely, actually, this group is the Black Beret is definitely a group to go with if you want kind of like versatile with vehicles and different types of infantry. So definitely a very skilled group over here. And second last one, which these guys are called the where are they? These guys are called the Capital Mech Infantry. Now these guys, as you can see, look like they are being freaking armored from head to toe. As you can see, these guys are carrying a punch of a gun. These guys are carrying K2 rifles, which will definitely pierce through any enemy that you face against any infantry. They've got SMGs, machine guns as well, which are looking very scary. And I love like kind of their camo as well to it, so you can disguise them with kind of any daylight. Unfortunately, this kind of camo doesn't really work in this environment, but you definitely can use these vehicles as well with a medic as well, which is very awesome. So these guys can definitely pack a punch and last much longer than the last two groups. So definitely worth a look and taking it if you want to just really just pack a punch and just kill enemies really quickly and mow them down. Okay, last but not least in this group, which I have selected, and these guys are called the regular infantry or regular assault squad, or whatever you call them. These guys are just your standard infantry. They're nothing really special. They carry kind of your normal guns, your SMGs, rifles. They haven't really got that much armor, but they are a good starting group to kind of pin down men while you get your maybe other more advanced troops up in the field. But these guys are kind of good for good at stopping kind of advancing holds, because this guy has a grenade launcher as well, so it kind of can blow up maybe a group of men that are in a tight area as well. So definitely can clear through enemies, but definitely don't rely on them to push through a front. Maybe more for defensive battle option for these troops. So definitely something that I would start off with, but wouldn't carry out throughout the game. So guys, that is it for today. This vehicle I won't, like I said, review just because I wouldn't get in the picture, so it's not getting its reward. But anyway guys, that is it for today. I hope you did enjoy this video, a wee bit longer than usual, but I still did enjoy making this video. I hope you did like this video and you do want to see more nations added into the game. Let me know if you've got any other nations you want me to review, they're in the workshop or just been added to the game, then I can definitely do that. So guys, thank you so much for watching and our support, and everybody who did subscribe will be left on the screen right now. And guys, let's try and reach 1,000 subscribers. We are almost there. We're at 920, I believe, or 921. So let's try and see if we can hit that 1,000 mark before the end of the year, guys. I know we can definitely do it, and it'd be absolutely amazing. So guys, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching and our support, and I will see you in the next video. See you later, and goodbye.